So if you're interested in home bartending, but you're worried about wasting cocktail ingredients, then this is the correct video for you. My name is Ron Verpin. I'm a full-time medical doctor, and I've been a home bartender for over 5 years now. During that time, I've learned how to make over 100 different cocktails and I've thrown over 50 cocktail parties. And I teach other busy professionals how to make cocktails at home. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 important strategies to help you avoid wasting cocktail ingredients. And the idea for this video actually comes from a conversation that I recently had with a good friend of mine. At the time of this recording, it's actually December, and as is common in the United States and probably other parts of the world as well, when the calendar changes to the new year, January 2026, a lot of people make New Year's resolutions and they try to learn new things, new hobbies, have new experiences, all kinds of things like that. And my friend was really interested in getting into home bartending as one of his new skills that he wanted to learn in the new year in 2026. And one of the concerns that he was worried about wasting cocktail ingredients since he lives by himself and he doesn't throw big parties or make cocktails on YouTube like I do, and he doesn't always have a lot of friends over and other people over to make cocktails for and things like that. So, when you're in that situation, and obviously you're also not a professional bartender where you're guaranteed to have customers and clients coming to your bar where you're going to be constantly serving drinks and things like that, how do you avoid cocktail ingredient waste? Well, like I said, in this video, I'm going to be laying out 3 strategies that even I myself use as somebody who does throw bigger cocktail parties, who does like to have people over, who does also make tons of cocktails on my own, and also to show you guys how to make cocktails on YouTube. What are 3 strategies that I use that I feel will help you guys avoid the whole problem of cocktail ingredient waste? Well, the first is going to be demonstrated by these 3 bottles here, and these are actually 375 ml bottles. And most liquor bottles can come in either the 750 ml or the 1 liter, and in rare cases also the 1.75 liters. With these 3 ingredients here, I chose to go with the smaller 375 ml bottles, and that's mainly to avoid the whole problem of cocktail ingredient waste. And that's effective for these 3 ingredients especially because this is maraschino, which is a type of liqueur, and these are sweet and dry vermouth, which are types of vermouth, which is a fortified wine. And the reason that I like to go with smaller bottles for these types of ingredients is for 2 main reasons. One is that as opposed to the liquors, which for those of you that may not be as familiar, the liquors and the core spirits are going to be brandy, whiskey, rum, tequila, gin, and vodka. Those 6. These ingredients are going to be used less frequently in cocktails, and when they are used, they're going to be used in lower quantities. Most of the recipes that I know that contain these ingredients contain either 1 ounce or something smaller, like 3/4 ounce, ½ ounce, or even 1/4 ounce. Some cocktails even just use like a tablespoon or a teaspoon or a bar spoon of some of these ingredients. So, and that's in contrast to the core spirits, the liquors that are going to be using 2 ounces. So they're not used in as many cocktails, and they're also used in less quantity. And then an added thing with vermouth, this is a type of wine. So wine, as opposed to liqueurs and liquors, has a finite shelf life. Liquors and liqueurs can essentially last indefinitely in your pantry or on your bar cart. But wines and vermouths, which are fortified wines, not only do they have to be stored in your fridge after they are opened, even when they are stored in your fridge, they still have a finite lifespan or shelf life, I should say. So because of those reasons, I don't like to go with buying 1 liter bottles or anything bigger than that, or even 750 ml bottles for these ingredients. So when it comes to liqueurs and vermouths especially, but also this can apply to other ingredients as well, but definitely for these types of ingredients, go ahead and buy the 375 ml bottles. If you're worried even more about wasting cocktail ingredients, you can also buy 375 ml bottles for your liquors too. There are a lot of commercial brands for gin, vodka, tequila, rum, whiskey, brandy, etc. They all come also in 375 ml bottles. So if you're feeling more comfortable with that, you can definitely do that. And I would strongly recommend that even if you are like myself, where you're throwing parties and you're having gatherings all the time and you're making cocktails all the time, even for these liqueurs and vermouths, definitely go ahead and buy the 375 ml bottles. So that's going to be strategy number 1. Strategy number 2 is going to be demonstrated by these 2 bottles here, which are Nelly & Joe's Key West lime juice and Santa Cruz Organic lemon juice. So these are going to be bottled lime and lemon juice. And that's the strategy number 2, to go with bottled lime and lemon juice. And not only for those 2 fruits, also use bottled juices for pineapple, grapefruit, tomato, cranberry, whatever other juices you have out there. So these, as opposed to their the actual fruits themselves, these have a much longer shelf life. So even though these they don't have an infinite shelf life, you do have to store them in your fridge after you open them. And even then you still have to pour them out or dump them off after a certain time if you don't finish them by that. But even so, they are still way more shelf stable than fresh limes and lemons. So if you're going with that strategy of buying fresh limes and lemons, you're almost guaranteed to be wasting a lot of ingredients. But if you go ahead and use bottled limes and lime juice, lemon juice, and also for the other fruit juices, you have far less of a risk of wasting your ingredients. And I also have the giant 32-ounce bottle of lemon juice, but this is also available in a 16-ounce. This is a 16-ounce for lime juice. I think 16 ounces is generally the smallest size available, but that still gets you a good amount of cocktails. And because it has a much longer shelf life, especially after you store it in the fridge, after you open it, it's still going to get you by where you're not going to be wasting really that much. And you're definitely going to be wasting a lot less than if you used fresh limes, fresh lemons, fresh cranberries, fresh grapefruits, fresh pineapples, whatever the case may be. So that's going to be strategy number 2. So just to summarize before we move on, strategy number 1 for avoiding cocktail ingredient waste is to use the smaller size bottles. So this is going to be the 375 ml bottles. And I would definitely recommend this for liqueurs and vermouths. But if you're also not as comfortable and you don't feel like you're going to be making as many cocktails, especially at the beginning stages of your home bartending journey, you can also do this for liquors as well. And then second up, strategy number 2 is going to be to use bottled juices for lime juice, lemon juice, cranberry juice, grapefruit juice, pineapple juice, whatever juice you're thinking of. Go ahead and use bottled lime juice and bottled lemon juice or whatever other bottled juices, because they're going to be way more shelf stable. So you're going to be having to waste a lot less ingredients than if you use fresh fruits. And then finally, this is going to be the third strategy as demonstrated by this bottle here. This is my own homemade simple syrup. So if you feel like you don't want to be wasting ingredients as well by buying this giant store-bought bottles of simple syrup, honey syrup, and all the other available syrups out there, you can go ahead and make your own syrup. I haven't already done this yet, but pretty soon, I would say probably in the next couple of months, I'm going to be trying to do tutorials showing you guys how to make at least simple syrup and honey syrup. Those are the 2 most important syrups to make at home. And also the same strategy applies if you're buying the syrup bottles at the stores. You can also do the same strategy that I applied to liqueurs, liquors, and vermouths. You could also go ahead and buy the smaller bottles there, because usually they'll have 2 different sizes. For example, I mainly use this company called Lieber & Co. And I also use another company called Liquid Alchemist. So those are my 2 favorite syrup companies. They generally have a smaller size bottle, which is about 12 to 13 ounces, and then a bigger size bottle, which is about double that, so like 24, 25 ounces, something like that. So you can go ahead and use the smaller size bottle if you're worried about product waste. So that strategy applies there. But if you're really worried about product waste, you can just go ahead and make your own simple syrup, honey syrup, and you can also certainly make your own homemade grenadine, orgeat, all the other syrups. And that ensures that because you're controlling the quantity that you're making, you are going to be making just the right amount. So you don't have to go ahead and make a giant bottle of simple syrup like I've done here. You can go ahead and just make enough simple syrup for 5 cocktails or 10 cocktails or something like that. You don't have to go ahead and make enough simple syrup for 20, 25, 35, 40, 50 cocktails, something like that. So that's another way, because you're able to control the ingredients, and by making your own syrups, that allows you to also cut down on wasting cocktail ingredients. So just to recap before we close out the video, there's 3 main strategies that I've laid out in this video that have helped me avoid cocktail ingredient waste, and I feel will help you guys also do the same of avoiding cocktail ingredient waste. The first is to buy smaller size bottles. This is especially true for liqueurs and vermouths, but this can also be applied to liquors and even syrups as well. And then the second strategy is to go ahead and use bottled juices for lime, lemon, and all the other important fruits as well, because this will definitely cut down on ingredient waste when you compare it to using fresh limes, fresh lemons, and other fresh fruits. And finally, the third strategy is going to be to make your own syrups when possible, because that'll ensure that you only make enough that you feel like you're going to be able to use, as opposed to going out to the store and buying these giant bottles where you don't feel like you're going to be able to finish it all. Anyways, that's all I have for today's video. If you found the advice in this video helpful, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I really like to do 2 styles of videos on this channel. The first style of video will be a tutorial showing you guys how to make a specific cocktail. And the second style of video will be more like this type of video where I answer important questions about home bartending. I give guides on different topics. I share tips and tricks, and I share stories from my own home bartending journey that I hope will help you guys become better home bartenders. Thank you. Cheers.